Hello everyone, I'm Aaron, a birding naturalist. Welcome to my channel. What does it mean to be an ethical birder? What is ethical birding? Well, allow me to explain. Ethical birding is a set of guidelines, a set of ideas that by following them, the goal is to sort of reduce impacts to birds and to make birding as pleasant and sustainable and open and generous a hobby as it possibly can be to your fellow birders. There are many different sort of takes on what it means to be an ethical birder, different facets, different ideas. But there's a really prominent set of guidelines that's on the eBird website. I will leave a link to that website in the description at the bottom of this video. By all means, check it out for a more full and complete discussion. But it's a really great resource, and it's good, I think, for anyone who's outdoors, certainly anyone who's birding, to go and look at every once in a while. If you're a new birder, it's great to kind of read through these guidelines and say, okay, this is kind of what the birding community is aiming for. If you're an experienced birder, it's great to refresh your memory of exactly what these principles are and why they are the way they are. So to give an overview, some of them are fairly almost common sensey. There's things like, be aware of the species that you're looking at and consider it. So, for example, if a species is very rare or if its population is declining very steeply, maybe you want to actually stay away from it. Maybe you really want to leave it alone. If a bird has a nest somewhere, one guideline of ethical birding is to not publicize the specific location of that nest. This is particularly true of, again, listed, threatened, endangered, or very vulnerable, very sensitive species. The more sensitive they are, the rarer they are, the more important it is for them to be left alone on their nest so they can reproduce and just to live their lives and not have a bunch of humans gawking at them and pointing at them and messing about. On the same line, another guideline of ethical birding is to sort of maintain your distance. It's very tempting often to get as close as you possibly can to a bird. And it's really cool to get close to a wild animal. You get great views, maybe great pictures, whatever, great memories. But if you're disturbing the bird, maybe it's not so great for the bird. So that's another thing, keep your distance back from the bird. Let it have the space to live its life without a lot of disturbance. Getting out in nature with dogs can be fantastic, but if you're birding with them, make sure you only take them to areas where dogs are allowed and keep them on leash in any areas where sensitive species might be living or where there are just general leash laws in place. It's always a good practice to stay on trail, thereby minimizing trampling of vegetation and other disturbances to habitat. That's a technique called pishing. And it's supposed to sort of mimic the types of vocalizations that many birds make when they find a predator or they think there's a danger in the area. And oftentimes, when one bird hears the pishing call of another bird, it'll sort of pop its head up, it'll come in to investigate, it'll maybe try to help drive the predator away, a behavior called mobbing. And so sometimes you can use that pishing to draw out birds from dense cover, like this thicket that I'm standing in front of here. But you want to be really careful with using sounds like pishing or recorded playback calls, because it is a disturbance. It can be a stressor. Doing that to some birds every once in a while, no big deal. But you can imagine a situation where if there was like a rare bird that everyone knew about in a particular area, and everybody went, and everyone was playing recordings to try to coax that bird out, and everyone was pishing like crazy. And not only that bird, but all the other birds in the area were all getting all excited and kind of stressed because they thought there was a predator coming, and then another predator, and then another predator. It can be a serious cause of stress and disturbance to birds. So, one of the guidelines for ethical birding is to really limit your pishing and playback use, and really maybe eliminate it entirely if you are in a situation where maybe pishing and playbacks are really common, or if the species is really vulnerable or sensitive for some reason. So when you're going to try pishing, if you're going to try using a playback of any kind, really think seriously about the situation that you're in before doing so. Good principle on ethical birding. Driving slowly and obeying all traffic laws is another guideline of ethical birding. It may seem obvious, but don't do this. Right. Respect people's private property, respect people's privacy. Don't go pointing your binoculars and spotting scopes and cameras into people's windows. Be polite. And two final guidelines that I'll share are to just be polite to non-birders. When you're out on the trail, it can be very easy to get focused in on a bird and with your birding friends, and like you're excited about what's going on, and we can all be kind of rude to those around us. And that's a good thing to remember to not be. We should all keep in mind that there are people out in the woods, out in the fields, out in the wetlands who aren't birding. And they get to enjoy the space as much as we do. And so being polite and courteous and thoughtful to the non-birders around us is very important. And the last one is to share these guidelines. Share this video, share the link, share it with your birding friends, your birding communities, birding clubs, because they are guidelines for all of us to keep in mind and all of us to keep, like I said at the beginning, sort of refreshing our memories on, so that we can all bird in such a way that it's sustainable for the birds and for the rest of us humans, and that we can all be as sort of proactive and positive, have as positive an impact on the world as we possibly can as birders. So I hope that was interesting. I hope this link is useful. I hope you go and read it. And I hope that you adopt the guidelines of ethical birding for the betterment of birds and for the humans around us. Thank you very much for the view. Until next time, ethically, enjoy the natural world.